Welcome to Beyond Investments with your host, Seth Leishman of Ostro Financial Consultants. Information provided is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but its accuracy and completeness are not guaranteed. Neither LPL Financial nor the hosts of this show or accept any liability for the use of the information discussed. Consult with a qualified financial, legal, or tax professional prior to taking any action. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Ostro Financial Consultants, a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial. Today's guest, Rick Fisher, is a financial advisor with Ostro Financial Consultants, National Planning member SIPC. And now, Beyond Investments, here's your host, Seth Leishman.
Good morning, and welcome to Beyond Investments here on News Talk KNCO AM 830. Seth Leishman and Rick Fisher here from Ostro Financial.
Hello, folks.
On another snowy week.
How about the surprise? I know they were forecasting snow yesterday.
Yes.
But if you looked at kind of the chart and stuff, it figured where we were, we'd get a dusting. Maybe
about
we
most.
Weren't going to get the 6 inches that we got.
Yeah, that came, and it came fast.
Oh yeah, it was supposed to come on later in the day, and of course, I left. They closed down my wife's work, and then she told me the conditions. Said you might want to leave now.
Probably should. Yeah,
and
exactly.
So I left at 3:00 and right into the traffic. I think that surprise snow, no time to clear the road. It accumulated quickly, and then a lot of people were stuck out with two-wheel drive vehicles.
That's right.
And it took me what usually takes 12 minutes, took me 45 minutes to get home.
Yes. Oh, it was one of those situations where I know my vehicle is totally capable to handle basically.
You've got a few capable vehicles in the Leishman garage.
That's true. So, and the one at the office yesterday, very capable. Very capable. And so I made the decision to say, I knew how, knowing how bad the traffic was, I go, I'm just going to wait it out. I'll stay at work. Right. I'll keep going and I'll just, I'll head out later, way later, I'll wait till 7:00. Okay. And, I think I saw maybe 5 cars on the road.
Right. Yes, everyone had gotten home when they weren't going to go anywhere.
That's right. No, nobody was leaving after that because, the most of Grass Valley was empty when I left here.
Yeah, I was going to go. There was a meeting at the Easterly Center that they had scheduled about talking about the mine.
That's right.
And I was going to come, and then once I got home, I said, I have a feeling they're probably going to cancel that. And I was correct.
Good.
So I guess they're going to reschedule that. So hopefully we get some better weather. And unfortunately, we had another tree come down in a very unopportune place. So we have 2 pens for our alpacas in 1 barn. Yep. And this tree just basically got it so we can't get in. All the gates are blocked.
Yes.
So we have to climb over the fence. Fortunately, none of the animals were hurt as far as we can tell.
Good.
And this morning, the reason I was late is I had a couple of tree people come out and give bids.
The
only problem is that, yes, I need to get this tree done, but there's other things I need to get done. And some of the things you can't see anything because there's snow everywhere.
There's snow everywhere, yes.
So, and you don't want to do it piecemeal because that's more cost.
A lot more expensive.
You said rather get all the equipment on site and get her done, as they say.
That's right.
So even I'm going to have a discussion to talk about the bids and see the timing when we want to do it. Because I hear there's more snow coming on Sunday, so it's not like this is going to go away.
Yeah, that's what they said. Absolutely.
So I'll have to wait till the real spring, not this fake spring.
Exactly. Oh, everything started to bud and everything. It was like things were starting to pop up.
Yeah. Fortunately, they hadn't gotten too. Fortunately, they hadn't gotten too well popped before.
Yeah. Up where we're at, my parents down 1,000 feet lower. Almost all of their fruit trees had already budded up.
Oh.
And all of those things are gone now, which pretty much means that most likely going to have almost no fruit this summer, unfortunately.
It's funny because yesterday when I was turning on to Idaho, Maryland from Brunswick, there's that little turnout at the bottom where people go hiking and stuff.
Yeah.
And I needed to stop because I had so much snow stuck in my windshield wipers that they were just basically washing snow and I could barely see.
Oh, yeah.
So I pulled over to get the snow off. And I thought the 3 cars were empty, but one of these cars was a Mercedes sedan. Guy was popping out of it, and he asked me, do you want to? Can I get a ride? You're going up the hill, and I said yes. Yeah. And so I gave him a ride.
Oh, nice.
And we got to chatting a little bit, and I said, "So when did you move up here?" He said, "Last year."
Oh my goodness!
So he was saying we did some research. We didn't think there would be this smell. You just came to the year with us 2 years in a row
of record years.
Just
record years.
And so that's
pretty good.
Kind of funny.
Absolutely. Well, enough talk about weather. Let's hope for spring though. We'll just end it with, please, can we get some more spring weather here soon? We'll just end it with that, right?
Yes.
I just hope we do.
Just got to be grateful that we've got what we've got.
Yes.
Even though it's inconvenient at times.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. Well, let's dive into some trivia.
Okay, we'll dive into some trivia, and then we'll talk about the gold standard.
Yes.
Or what used to be the gold standard. And weak and strong dollar policy.
Yes.
We'll talk about pros and cons. And
absolutely. Let's do it.
So I've got, it's kind of trivia for the week.
Yes.
Some of it was on this day, some of it was within this week. Okay.
Absolutely.
So starting with financial trivia, because this is a financial show. 1999.
1999. Okay.
Yeah. Less than a year after breaking the 9,000 mark, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closes above the 10,000 mark for the first time. Finishes the day at 10,006.
Yes.
And change.
Wow.
So and we're up to what now?
High 20s?
Yeah.
Low 30s? Right around there? Where are we today?
No. Well, for the Dow.
Yeah, that's what I mean on the Dow. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
sorry,
this is the.
You said, which one did you say?
Did say. You're right.
Yeah,
I did say the Dow.
Dow, yeah, 32,000 now.
Yeah, so three times.
Yeah.
From 20.
From 1999 to now. That's 24 years.
Yep.
3 times higher.
1989, Michael Milken. People of the 80s will remember that name.
Yes.
Not fondly necessarily. Is indicted on 98 felony charges of violating federal securities laws as the head of the junk bond desk at Drexel Burnham Lambert. Prosecutors disclosed that he earned $550 million in compensation in 1986. That's a lot of money today,
That's
let alone
a pile
back then.
Of money today. Holy cow.
$500 million. But almost nothing else they flung at Milken sticks. So I don't know how much, if he ever spent any time
jail time or anything, yeah.
Anyways, 98 felonies.
Wow.
So he was, I guess, who's the guy with
like a Bernie Madoff almost.
Yeah, and then who's the current guy? I've forgotten his name already.
Who's what?
They had the crypto.
Oh yes,
Sam Bankman-Fried.
That guy.
So
that guy.
Kinda,
yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Kind of like that.
They just recycle every 20 years.
Every 15, 20 years we get another one.
Moving on to 1918. Sam Moore Walton, future founder of Walmart, is born in Kingfisher, Oklahoma.
Ah, okay.
Moving on to sports. This took me a while. I was trying to find reasonable stuff that people would understand and that you would like, but wasn't very successful. So starting in 2001, at 15 years and 9 months, American swimmer Michael Phelps breaks the 200-meter butterfly world record at the U.S. World Championships in Austin, Texas, becomes the youngest male to set a world mark. 15 years and 9 months.
Wow.
World record. Not Olympic record.
Yeah.
World record.
World record.
All right. Moving up, going back to 1973, American tennis star Billie Jean King ends Australian Margaret Court's 57-match winning streak. 6-7, 7-6, 6-3 in a semifinal of the WTA event in Indianapolis, Indiana. Can you imagine winning 57 matches in a row?
Wow.
And obviously you have to have a superstar to beat that.
Yes,
at least
obviously.
Should.
Oh, yeah.
1994, Chicago White Sox assigns former NBA superstar Michael Jordan to the Birmingham Barons of the Double-A Southern League. He returns to NBA after one season. So here, possibly considered the greatest basketball player ever.
Right.
Couldn't hack it in the major leagues.
That's right.
So
it's true.
Anyway, again, he could catch and throw. It's just that hitting thing.
It's that hitting. Well, my side note around baseball. My son was pretty upset at himself after doing some batting practice, and he said, Dad, I only hit 1 in 3. He said, that's all I got. Dad, was 1 in 3.
It makes you a Hall of Famer in some leagues.
And I went, Bud, a 333 batting average is somebody who gets paid millions and millions of dollars a year
to do it consistently. Absolutely.
If you could go 1 for 3 regularly,
yes,
you're a millionaire.
Yeah.
A millionaire.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And
have that be your goal, son, all the way through, as far as you can get. If you can carry that 333 batting average.
Holy cow. Anyways, side note.
Moving on to music.
Yes.
1980. I remember this. I was my senior year in high school. Well, not this part. Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon, which was released in 1972. Album spent its 303rd week on the U.S. album chart.
Oh, wow.
Beating the record set by Carole King's 1971 album, Tapestry. The album remained in the U.S. Billboard charts for guess how long? So it broke the record at 303.
Yes.
What was the final tally?
350.
741.
Oh.
It's a great album, but that's,
wow.
Yeah.
That's
741 continuous weeks from 1973 to 1988.
Wow.
Longer than any other album in chart history. After moving to the Billboard Top Pop catalog chart, the album notched up a further 759 weeks and had reached a total of over 1,500 weeks on the combined charts by May of 2006.
Wow.
So if you don't have that album, you need to get it.
Yeah, no kidding.
1973. Now, I remember this song very well. Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show. Kind of a second-rate band, but Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show got their picture on the cover of the Rolling Stone magazine after their hit. The cover of Rolling Stone reached number 6 on the U.S. singles chart. According to the members of the group, they really did buy 5 copies for their mothers, just like the song said.
Interesting.
I remember when that was a hit.
Yeah.
And happy birthday to Angus Young of AC/DC, who was 68 years old.
Okay.
On this day, the day that this is playing,
right,
March 31st, 1976, Led Zeppelin released Presence, their 7th studio album on their Swan Song label in the UK. It's been certified 3 times platinum and selling over 3 million copies. 1967, also on March 31st, Jimi Hendrix set fire to his guitar live on stage for the first time when he was appearing at the Astoria in London, England. It was the first night of a 24-date tour with the Walker Brothers, Cat Stevens, Engelbert Humperdinck, and Jimi Hendrix on the same stage. Who would have thunk? Right. The Fender Stratocaster burned on stage by Hendrix sold for, what do you think it sold for? So here's a good guitar by a Hall of Fame guitarist that he burned, so you can't really play it anymore. What do you think it went for in auction?
$2 million.
No, not that bad. 280,000 pounds.
Oh, 280,000 pounds, though. Okay.
Yeah.
It's almost $500,000.
Right, but it's not $2 million.
Not $2 million, though.
1964 on March 31st. Filming for A Hard Day's Night, the Beatles played a live television performance in front of a studio screaming fans. One of those fans was Phil Collins.
Oh.
The 4 songs used in the film were Tell Me Why, I Should Have Known Better, And I Love Her, and She Loves You. So if you haven't seen that movie, A Hard Day's Night, have you ever seen it?
I've not.
Oh, you should. It's a great movie if you're a Beatles fan.
Yeah.
I do have some automotive trivia.
Okay.
On this day, 1900, March 31st, 1900, the first advertisement to run in a national magazine appeared in the Sunday Evening Post. The W.E. Roach Company of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania ran an advertisement featuring its jingle, Automobiles That Give Satisfaction.
Oh, interesting.
1900. So there was 10 cars on the road, maybe?
Yes, exactly.
On March 27th, 1863, Henry Royce of Rolls-Royce was born.
Wow.
1998, Ferdinand Porsche Jr., creator of the Porsche sports car, his father did the Beetle, died at age 88.
Okay.
And then in 2009, Tesla Motors unveiled its state-of-the-art 5-seat sedan, billed as the world's first mass-produced highway-capable electric car.
Whoa.
So that was only 2009.
Yeah.
So that is it for trivia.
Okay.
Today's guest, Rick Fisher, is a financial advisor with Austro Financial Consultants, National Planning Member SIPC.
Welcome back. You're listening to Beyond Investments here on News Talk KNCO AM 830. Rick, we're going to talk about the gold standard, which we, of course, are no longer using.
And haven't been so since 1971.
So 11 years before I came to planet Earth.
Yes.
We'll just say that.
Okay.
Not that I'm rubbing that in. 1971. So,
well, let me come in.
We went off the gold standard, which is, let's define the gold standard for those that are listening that might also have not been born in 1971.
I had heard of the gold standard. I have a general idea what it was, but when I went to do some research, I've got more stuff here. We could get really wonky, but we're not.
Right. We'll stay out. We'll stay out of that.
Probably 30 pages of stuff on it. But the definition, this is from Wikipedia.
Yep.
The gold standard is a monetary system in which the standard economic unit of account is based on a fixed quantity of gold.
Yes.
So if you have, $100 million in gold, that's all you can only have $100 million in paper money.
In paper money too.
So
yes.
Okay, let's see. The gold standard was the basis for international monetary system from the 1870s to the early 1920s, and then from the late 1920s to 1932. And in 1932 is a date that a lot of coin collectors know about, because that's when President Roosevelt called for the seizure of gold and set the price at a flat, I think it was $25 or $30 an ounce.
Yes.
Okay, and then as well from 1944 until 1971, when the United States unilaterally terminated convertibility of the U.S. dollar to gold. So it used to be if, you ever heard of silver certificates?
Yeah.
That if you had an ounce of silver, you could turn it in, or vice versa. If you had a silver certificate, it was good for
an ounce of silver.
Right. Effectively ending what they call the Bretton Woods system. Many states nonetheless hold substantial gold reserves. So even though we're off the gold standard, I think all countries are. I don't know of any that are on the gold standard.
Yeah.
A lot of governments do purchase and store gold.
Yes.
Hence Fort Knox.
Hence, yes. There's a lot. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
But you might say, well, gold's worth so much, it just doesn't sound practical. Well, actually, historically, the silver standard and bimetallism has been more common than the gold standard.
Right.
So you have gold and silver. The shift to an international monetary system was based on a gold standard reflected accident, network externalities, and I'm not going to go through this. I told you, it gets really wonky and technical.
Yeah, really very, very technical. Yeah.
But I mean, there used to be a time where, people say, well, gold is a store of value. It's something that I think all humans agree that gold has some sort of value.
Right.
And the market right now is $1,900, almost $2,000 an ounce.
Correct.
Which makes it a little impractical to be dealing in 1 ounce coins. But you can get, if you want to have physical gold, you can get smaller denominations. But I think 1/10 of an ounce is still a couple $100.
It is. Yes. And it's tiny.
It is tiny. It's very tiny.
You're talking about 1/10 of an ounce. Absolutely.
Yes.
And gold is it's not as, readily usable, let's say, even in and I know gold in particular, but used as this doomsday apocalyptic reserve, right? It's a reserve against apocalyptic doomsday type scenarios. But at $2,000, nearly $2,000 an ounce, if all of a sudden paper money wasn't accepted, are you going to take in your 1 ounce coin and shave off 1/10 of 1 ounce to get groceries? I don't know how really reliable it would be in that kind of even in that kind of a situation. It just makes me wonder. I'm not saying that it's not practical. It's a thought-provoking exercise to think, what would you do and what would it actually look like? There
are those now when we have volatile times like these, the discussion always comes up, should we go back on the gold standard?
Right.
And I don't think it's practical. And most economists, when I don't know the names of these economists and how they picked them, but most people say it wouldn't work. That you wouldn't be solving any of the problems. The reason we went, the gold standard, you'd have these great panics where it was, the banking panics. And so there was those who say, let's get off the gold standard, which we did because that will help that. Well, it really hasn't.
It really hasn't.
You still have your ups and downs, and I think that's going to continue regardless.
Yep.
I have held significant amounts of physical gold in the past.
Yeah.
More for, I just like the way it looks and feels. If you've ever had a 100%, gold coin in your hand, there's just something about it. There's something, prehistoric about it. Because I think the first civilization was
started using these types of things.
180 BC or something. Yeah. So it's been around for a long time.
Found value in that metal.
Right. Exactly. Or silver. So going back on there are some politicians that say we should go back in the gold standard.
Right.
From what I've read, I don't think it's going to help that much. I just don't think it's possible.
And how would you even make it? Exactly. That's the question mark. How would it even be possible to get that much gold purchased and stored somewhere? I mean, you're talking about a huge difference between the outstanding dollars, physical dollars, let's say, dollar bills, and digital, right? So it's everything electronic. It's all money. U.S. dollars, the expansion of the number of U.S. dollars that are out there in circulation has got to be a huge difference between 1971 and today.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about modern gold production. An estimated total of 174,000 tons of gold have been mined in human history. How they come up with it, I have no idea.
I don't know how do you
According
come up with
to
that?
the GFMS as of 2012. This is roughly the equivalent to 5.6 billion troy ounces, or 327,000 cubic feet.
Okay.
Or 69 metric cube. Anyways. So
you could have all the gold in the world. It might not even be enough.
Plus, the thing is that it's not going to help the situation we're in now, because now one of the disadvantages of going off the gold standard is you've got now the governments can print money. There's
nothing to slow it down.
There's nothing to slow it down. And that will work as long as we all see the value of a dollar.
Yes.
And obviously with inflation,
obviously we've seen less of a value because that's one of the drivers to inflation, is that we value the dollars less. Even just mentally and emotionally, if you value that dollar less, that is a contributor to inflation, and people don't realize that. Even just the hysteria around, my money's worth less because of what's happening, causes more inflation. So
that's a nice segue into, since we have dollars, paper dollars, do we want a strong dollar or a weak dollar?
Great question.
And so, what is, the strong dollar is that, you can get more, whatever you're exchanging it for. So if you have pounds or euros, you can get more of those with $1.
Right.
As opposed to a weak dollar where it's just the opposite.
That's right.
So it helps on which side you are on.
Yeah.
So again, a strong dollar is good for some and bad for others.
It is.
When the dollar strengthens over the past year, American consumers benefited from cheaper imports and less expensive travel. So if you remember when we had a weak dollar and you wanted to go to Europe, it would take $1 would buy less than €1.
That's right.
And if you looked at prices, they were kind of similar to U.S. prices. So now you're paying more.
A lot more.
But then when that turned around, all of a sudden it was almost 1-to-1.
Yeah. Got a lot cheaper to go to Europe, that's for sure.
Exactly. Unfortunately,
when you had dollars.
Right. Yes. Unfortunately, I was not able to take advantage of that. So.
Yep. That's okay.
Again, so Americans holding U.S. dollars can travel farther on those dollars because you have more buying power.
Yes.
Imports are cheaper.
That's right.
So things that we get from other countries are cheaper.
Yep.
That's all good. The downside is...
Well, one of the biggest downsides is for anybody that exports to other countries.
Exactly. So if you're a business,
sending your products, you're a business, you're trying to sell an iPhone in Europe with a strong dollar, you're not as competitive.
So exporters suffer.
Yes.
U.S. companies conducting business abroad are hurt. The multinationals,
of course.
Emerging markets. So we've talked about those countries we're trying to get up. Well, they're not. They're hurt by that.
Yep.
So, is there a sweet spot? I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
it's either weak or strong. And there are those who say we want a strong dollar policy. Others saying we want a weak dollar policy.
That's right.
But there are trade-offs.
Trade-offs for both.
Yes.
And I know, of course, our government officials and those that are in charge of making those types of decisions and driving that kind of policy. At the end of the day, we hope that they're doing what's best for as many people as possible. But
oh boy, do you!
We don't know if they are.
I think the evidence would dictate otherwise.
Yes. Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, some of that policy, whether they decide on a policy or not, we as citizens and people with our wallets can drive whether or not that policy is actually effective or not, right? If we if we wanted to have a really strong dollar and have strong imports, right, or whatever it might be, because we want to do that, we can affect that with our own pocketbooks, with how we spend money, where we spend money, how we consume.
Yep.
Right. So a government can try to do everything they can, and it won't work when the people are against it, so to speak.
And also
it's
our
very
vote.
Interesting. And our voting.
Our voting is something I don't always understand the mindset of some people who, sometimes we have bad choices.
Right.
Recently we haven't had any really, I don't think I've been proud of any of my votes in the last 20, 30 years.
Right.
I would like to be. I would like to have someone come out who's logical, who is truly a patriot, that they love this country and they only want what's best for this country and its people.
Yes.
Not just their elite friends.
That's right.
And as I have more birthdays and I see what's going on in the world, it's discouraging.
It is. It is.
It is very discouraging. But anyways, their last couple minutes.
Yes, with our last bit here, as we think about gold standard, we think about strong dollar and weak dollar. Just know that it's going to ebb and flow. It is. It's going to ebb and flow. We're going to go through periods of time where it's strong dollar and weak dollar. And generally speaking, when it's say a really strong dollar and you've had that trip that you wanted to do abroad, great. Maybe you ought to think about doing it.
Yep.
When we've got a really weak dollar, we adjust our spending and consuming habits to match. And just know that it's going to constantly ebb and flow. It will. And it's a slow process. It does, generally speaking, oftentimes it's slow, but it's going to ebb and flow. And at the end of the day, there's wisdom in that saying, just go with the flow.
Yep.
As always, we encourage you as listeners to go to our website at austrofinancial.com. You can click on the news link there. And as always, if you'd like to learn more about what we do, give us a call at 273-4425. Come experience the difference when you think beyond investments.
Bye, folks.
Information provided is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but its accuracy and completeness are not guaranteed. Neither LPL Financial nor the hosts of this show or accept any liability for the use of the information discussed. Consult with a qualified financial, legal, or tax professional prior to taking any action. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Austro Financial Consultants, a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.